that today. Good morning, everybody. Wherever you may be in the world, it's morning here in my part of the world. My name is Mike Warren, and I'm with Alternative Health Concepts. We have a company that is an information company based on alternative health concepts, and it's simply that we try and get people the information they need to help themselves heal themselves naturally. And today we have a super exciting guest, a kind of a world-renowned guest, as I started doing a little research on her, and I'm really excited to have her, Dr. Veronica Hayduk, and she's going to be talking about her specialty. She's a naturopathic doctor, and my whole background, I just believe that this is an up-and-coming, a way that people can really help themselves heal themselves naturally. And I really believe that naturopathic medicine has such a major place, particularly here in the United States, that it's been something that was overlooked for many, many years and almost put out of business, the way I understand it. She can get in a little more into that detail a little later, but super excited to have her here. I would like everybody to know that you can go to our website. It's right under my name here on the, should be somewhere right here. And go to our website and find out about a product that is an immune modulator. It's an all-natural bioidentical immune modulator of proteins that our body manufacture through our thymus gland. It's thymic proteins, and it's just an amazing, amazing product to help yourself better regulate your own immune system, build your immune system so that, again, your body can heal itself naturally. So without further ado, I'd like to, I guess, these are always funny. Right now, I think she's sitting on this side of me, Dr. Hayduk, Veronica Hayduk, and I'd like to introduce her a little bit. I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna read this because she's got a long credentialed list of many, many accomplishments, and I'm, again, really excited to have her here. Dr. Hayduk is a naturopathic doctor, as I mentioned, licensed and board certified primary care naturopathic doctor in private practice. And by the way, she's in Maryland, so anybody up on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, can get a hold of her, and I know she can help you out. She received her doctorate in naturopathic medicine from the Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine and Health Sciences in Arizona, one of only 4 nationally accredited naturopathic schools in the country. She also graduated cum laude from University of Arizona with a bachelor's degree in religious studies and psychology, with specializations in biology, chemistry, and microbiology. In addition, Dr. Hayduk has advanced training in environmental microbiology and cell biology, and was an intern at the National Institutes of Health there in her home state of Bethesda, Maryland. And she was in the biopsychology and neuroendocrinology research department. She also worked with Dr. Andrew Weil, who many of you are aware, know of, at the Integrative Medical Medicine Department located in Tucson, Arizona. And I might add that the list goes on for about 3 more paragraphs, so I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll let her get into that a little bit.
Oh, yay. Hi. So here I am. So we're talking about naturopathic medicine today, and I'm not exactly sure where you'd like to begin on my long and winding story on how I got here, or about what I do. What should it be?
Well, here's what I'd like you to do, because when I go on these blabs and when I hear other people talking about it, I'd like to hear your story. In other words, what brought you to where you are today? There's always a story on how you decided to become a naturopathic doctor and how you...
Really is. In fact, they even asked you that question when you apply to go to the school, so I must have had a really good answer back then for them to let me in. Great. But it's a good one, I think. So it started, my mom would tell you that I always wanted to be a doctor. And so she would buy me all these boxes of Band-Aids in particular, and I would take my stuffed animals and I'd put a little pin on the head of a pen and wrap it up in tape and kind of give my animals like shots, because every time I went to a doctor as a little kid, you get vaccinations. So I was doing this, and I was putting Band-Aids all over my stuffed animals, and my friends would come over and look at it just like, well, you're not going to put a Band-Aid on it because that's what happened. So Then years fast forward, and my parents owned a catering company, and my father-in-law was the chef. And so he was into trying new recipes. It's certainly what we did as a family, trying new things when you own such a company. So I got this great idea to buy the herb book by John Roos. It still sits on my shelf. I'm staring at that right now. It's a fabulous book for all things herb. And I was also a budding gardener at the time, so I bought him this book. He didn't pay any attention to it for his birthday. Months go by, and I get a little uppity. I think I'm like 13 at the time. I'm like, why I'll never see you with this book? How come you're not trying anything? What's going on? And he very nicely says to me, it's not what you think it is. It's not a cookbook. It's an herb book. And so I flip open the book as if it's the first time I'm seeing this and read about the dandelion, and it can be helpful for the liver, or reading about growing this herb that I happen to know about and how you can use it, what it looks like. And that's really what sort of launched me off on the, wow, really? Like the stuff that grows in my backyard that I know what it is, you can actually use it for medicine, use it for different things. And then I find out, as over the years that my family, like my grandmother, my great-grandmother, were all sort of herbalists, and I don't know which is the right term, but certainly sort of on the fringe of medicine, not really mainstream type of people. My father was Polish, so even on his side of the family, they're like, they're both my grandparents on maternal and paternal side were very much of we don't rush off to the doctor for first things. So then I get the great idea, well, since I want to be a doctor, I'm going to go to regular medical school, right? Because that's what you do. And I did not have a very good experience at regular medical school, and didn't end well, didn't get very far, was actually asked to leave because I was too radical in suggesting vitamin C for whatever disease that they were talking about, because that had worked for me. If I got a cold, and sort of worked, and the whole class gasped and sort of stared at me like my nose was on upside down. And anyway, so it was fine that they said perhaps you should find a career elsewhere. All right. But I was devastated. And my neighbor who lived next door to me, I was in Arizona at the time, was already in medical school. He was a little farther along in the program, and then had thought about going to Southwest College, the naturopathic medical school that I did, and said that this might be more of what you're looking for. And I, at that time, had no idea there was such a place that I knew of sort of what DOs were, but they were kind of odd. I didn't really have any friends. I didn't go see that. You go see MDs, you go see nurses. Like, what is this naturopathic medicine?
Doctor.
And so since
Doctor, can I jump in there real quick? So where did you grow up? Where was all this taking place? Where was your home?
Well, I started in Michigan. I was born in Michigan, so it sort of started there. But this is really when I kind of had my awakening or awareness, or whatever, when I started getting more into my teen years. I was living in D.C., and then I actually had moved over to, Montgomery County sort of area from there. So I actually went to high school in the county. So I grew up here, and then I went to Arizona for a while. So I was already in Arizona when I was in undergrad, and that's when my neighbor suggested that I go to Southwest, which was great because it was 2 hours up north. So that's when I went there and found all kinds of people that were just as nutty as I was. Thinking, because I had never really been around anyone thinking that you could do this herb, or really if you eat more of this you can feel this way. I mean, it was just nothing that I had ever really seen before, because I'm older than I look, so this was many years ago, where there was that health food store down there on the street, but only crunchy granola people go there. Like, what we don't go here. So it was sort of them. But then when I moved to Arizona, of course, as you know, right, West Coast is way more into natural things. So there's a yoga studio on every corner, and there's way more different varieties on foods. It's not so much it is here on the East Coast. It'll get here. I know you've heard it before that the West Coast is about 20 years ahead of the East Coast when it comes to naturally minded thinking and just alternative ways of thinking, not just about health, but just in things in general. So,
well, now, we've all heard that, but do you find that true? Do you find that true?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to, sadly enough, cancer care. And I do work with a lot of people with cancer. The information that they get from their doctors, if anything, is sort of outdated, not really correct. So it definitely seems to be fear-based and scare-based out here than it is whatever works for the person. That's the question.
Excellent. So that took you to becoming a naturopath. You went through school. You graduated with honors.
I was already through school. Yeah, I was already through school. I already knew I wanted to go to medical school. I thought I wanted to go to traditional medical school. I didn't know that I was on my way to a naturopathic. So that's what I'm glad. I mean, I don't regret it, but that's what happened. So I already knew. That's why I was all over the campus, that's why I chose religious studies as religious studies and psychology, because I knew I wanted to be a doctor, but I also wanted to help people who are radical on the spiritual end or on that part. Not that I'm the pastor, I'm not the preacher, but many of my patients, can we pray about this? Can we think about it? And so by having a background in whatever your religious flavor is, if you will, just to being comfortable with that person and not in whatever's going to help them heal. And for a lot of my patients, that makes a big difference because they really are definitely religious based in everything that they do. And then they'll go see a regular traditional doctor and they're not even sort of like scared and not even mentioning that.
Yeah.
Which is nice about naturopathic medicine, that we spend so much time with our patients. We can have that conversation if it's important. If it's not, then we're just going to move on.
Sure. No, absolutely. That's great. So you graduated, and did you stay there? Do you do a residency in naturopathic medicine like MDs do? Is there a process like that?
You can. You can if you want to. I did sort of some women's medicine, some herbal medicine, a little with some environmental medicine. I did not choose to stay around in Arizona for the big residency that were done through the school. So there are a few other off-campus ways of doing residency. So there's a clinic there. There's a few other ways of doing it. I didn't do much, a few months, but not a big formal program.
Okay, great.
It's definitely something that I think our profession needs to do a better job with.
We have a question there from Nourish the Planet. I think that's Mark. What's the difference between a doctor of naturopathic medicine and a doctor of natural medicine? It's a good question, I think.
There is. It's funny because this is written, I have a little small article written on my website about this. There is a distinction between the two. Especially in states that are unlicensed. Maryland just last year got passed to be licensed for naturopathic medicine, which is great because what our focus is about helping the people identify who went to a formal training for medical school for naturopathic versus those that did not. So a doctor of naturopathic medicine is actually a title in which those people have graduated from an accredited naturopathic medical school. And then there's other people who will do online schools, correspondence schools. And when they graduate, and I kind of put that in quotes, they can call themselves a naturopathic doctor. So in certain states, there's nothing to sort of tell the public the difference between who went to a medical school, received training, had to take board exams and pass them to get a license versus those that went another path. I'm not saying that those are not good practitioners. They all, of course, have their skills and usefulness. It's just very confusing for the public who may think they're getting one thing and then not getting something else.
Okay, great.
That's what the difference is.
So
I think it's important to ask. I think it's important to ask a person who is planning on seeing a naturopathic doctor, where did they go to school, just so they can vet out who might be the right person for them, if indeed they are looking for someone who is licensed and understands the difference to what their regular medical doctor would be prescribing versus what I might be asking to. And so there is a big difference. Huge difference.
I know here in California, my wife happens to go to a naturopathic doctor. And one thing that we found is that, and I don't know if it's nationwide, but for some reason, I guess the traditional American Medical Association controls, for the most part, what all of you guys do. Our insurance doesn't pay for naturopathic medicine here in California. Maybe some insurance plans do. I don't know that. But also, it seems like certain things or tests, or we have to, here in California, go to a regular medical doctor. There are certain guidelines that they aren't able to do, which I don't like, but maybe you can talk to that a little bit. I don't know if that's nationwide or if it's just here in California.
It's a state issue.
Okay.
So it's certainly California. I know naturopaths have a little wider scope of practice than what we have in Maryland. My understanding, what we have in Maryland is just protecting of the title, ordering lab work, eventually some of those things. So it's a little different. And then there's other states where if you even say you're a naturopathic doctor, you're in essence in prison. I mean, there's just some states you just don't practice as a naturopathic doctor. So it's a statewide thing. As I believe to be, is the companies in the states that the insurance companies are covering. It has to do with a push of, it's like a grassroots effort. So that's the patients themselves are like, we want this stuff covered. You want to make money, cover this stuff. You get you'll get more patients. So it's really, that's, I think the chiropractors, that's how they got covered by insurance, because it took really a lot of people over many years to be like, you got to cover the same thing with the acupuncturist. So we're a profession that's been around a long time, but we're definitely smaller in numbers. So it really kind of takes a lot of patients to submitting to the insurance company saying, hey, you got to get this stuff covered. So some of it is getting around. Some of them are doing a better job than not. So over the years, I have found, even for my basic services, not even lab testing, companies like, no way are we covering this. So yeah, we'll give you half. Some of my patients telling me they're getting all of it back. And flexible spending health savings accounts, people forget they have them, but they're easily usable in naturopathic offices. So that's
fantastic.
Another great service too, if the insurance doesn't cover it. But yeah, it'd be great to see insurance covers more things, especially because in the long run, insurance companies save a whole lot of money when they choose to cover naturopathic services.
Okay, so let me shift gears just a little bit here. With that said, I want to get into what you specialize in and what happens when somebody comes into your clinic and what you do for them. But we have a question here. Roxanne asked, and let me pop this question up. I'm not quite sure what she's getting at. Can you grow a wide variety of herbs in North Carolina yourself, or is that only a few types? The reason why I brought this question up is on your website, I understand that you're kind of a gardener, and you mentioned
I did. I love gardening.
And it looked like...
Yeah, did you see my sunflower?
I did.
Oh, I'm so excited about my
I wanted you to bring that up. I saw this. It looks like you're going for a world record sunflower.
Well, so I would like. No, I'm half the distance. It's a 35-foot. One guy in Germany's got the record, but he's even got scaffolding on it. But I'm convinced I could get close, at least break whatever. I don't know what the nation record is, or even the Maryland record. Wait
a minute. Your sunflower tree, I guess it's a tree at that point, is 35 feet tall.
It wasn't 35 feet. I got to, what was it, like 22?
Wow.
I think it was 22.
Amazing.
Maybe.
That's cool.
So yeah, so I'm holding out, and my pumpkin. I got to get one of those 100-pound pumpkins. I tried this year, but we'll see about next year. Yeah, I'm already excited, Mike, and your listeners. I am already out there plowing. It's frozen, but it's kind of wet. It's been raining a lot, and the snow just melted, but I don't care. It's a big muddy mess. Me and my cats were out there digging in the dirt. So can you grow a lot of herbs? Now, certainly North Carolina is farther south from here, and Maryland, so you can grow even more things because they have a longer growing season. Gaia Herb Farms is down there. They're a fantastic herbal company, and they do a lot for our profession, so they do a great job. There is also an herbal medicine conference that's in June in the Black Hills of North Carolina, which is another great place to see all kinds of things growing. So you can grow a lot of annuals into perennials, all sorts of really tall, big, beautiful trees to small little bushy things. And some things you can even bring in indoors, like I've got a rosemary bush that's hanging in there over the winter too. So yeah, absolutely. There's a lot that can be done here.
Okay, so great. So now we know a little bit about what you do in your hobby, but your hobby is also your profession, right? Because you guys in naturopathic medicine, you use all kinds of herbal tinctures and actual teas and the whole bit. So talk a little bit about that and what you do with that.
Well, I do have plenty of herbs that are for a custom tincture compounds for folks, which is great, especially if you have more than one concern going on. We can put one formula together. I do recommend people do drink teas, and there's some fabulous companies that I say to go get them from. I have this one patient who completely took over his wife's counter and all these different herbs and all these different teas, because she's a patient of mine as well. She kind of rolls her eyes at me and like, you should see this kitchen of all this herb stuff everywhere and all the different teas that he makes. So I didn't apologize for it. I actually kind of liked it. So we'll build a special cabinet is what he did. So we have all of those herbs and things. So different topicals that can be rubbed and applied to the body. I certainly spent a lot of class time, and I know a lot of my colleagues do, with water therapy, with wrapping in sheets and sine wave unit machines and all kinds of things that we can just do with hot and cold water applications to different parts of the body. Whatever really helps and takes while still helping the person get better.
So we had a question from the audience. Kim asked, what is the top 5 herbs you suggest people have on hand? Obviously, people can use herbs on their own, and it's one of the beauties of herbal products is we can use them in teas or whatever we might be using at home. So what are the 5 that you would maybe suggest people have on hand at their home? for home
Well,
remedies?
I would also think if there is a particular health concern that the person's having or that the family has,
Yeah.
I mean, if the whole family's got a runny nose and sinus and their allergy, then I would think having more of those herbs that are immune boosting and allergy one would be better than, say, maybe, the person's got a dementia issue that you need more herbs for the brain. So certainly this time of year that we're still in cold and flu season, I would think having some herbs around to help keep that going and moving well. Of course, the echinacea that everyone knows, but I do want to encourage people that echinacea is not an herb that you do every single day, all day long. You need to take a break. Couple of my favorite herbs is licorice or glycyrrhiza, because that is antiviral, which is lovely. It's antimicrobial too. You can coat and soothe the digestive system, which is another great little added benefit. And I do work with a lot of people who have issues with fatigue and they're tired all the time. That can often be a cortisol issue coming from the adrenals. And so licorice can kind of help those folks do better with their cortisol function. And it tastes good. So I always like to choose herbs that are tastier versus the really nasty ones. But then again, that's how you know the herb works if it tastes gross. So, I know lemasium is another great antiviral. That is by far a nasty tasting one, but certainly it's what the American Indians used in the flu epidemic in 1918. Those that pretty much took the lemasium survived and did better than those that did not. So I always like to have some lemasium, especially sitting on my desk if a patient's coming in and I just like they shouldn't be here really sick. No, of course I want them to come in, but just a couple drops for myself and my office staff just to make sure we don't have to worry about that. And then there's people, of course, there's all those herbs that live in the spice cabinet. Turmeric would be fabulous, sprinkled and added onto foods. Green tea, even though it's a tea, can also be an herb, and I even add that to my smoothies in the morning. So the dried herb, grind it all up, is fabulous, especially when I don't really want to drink it, don't have time to drink it, or drink it anyway, and why not eat it as well? So you could ask 100 different herbalists and get 1,000 different answers. So that's why I really like to play with herbs, especially when I'm lecturing, and really what resonates. When you're feeling the herb, touching the herb, smelling the herb, and it's like, oh, what's so special about this herb? Then, of course, you should sort of honor that. Maybe that's the herb that should be part of your.
Let me jump in there real quick, because you said something. Let me jump in real quick. You said something interesting about echinacea. Now, what's the reason why you say not to take it every day? What does that do to our
every day
for
for months and months after months? You can get a toxicity issue, and then you can get a tolerance issue. So there's a certain how the body breaks it down, and there's certain properties to it. It's just not something that you would want to do long term. Astragalus is another herb that you would not want to do long term either, because you just need to take a break from it.
Well, it's interesting because we have a product that that is manufactured for us, but my father, who's a doctor, and his another colleague of ours developed, called BioPro Plus, and it's a thymic protein that it's a glandular product that we take from the thymus gland. All mammals produce it, and it's a protein that modulates our immune system. Well, early on in the development of this product, we only isolated one protein molecule, and we found that we had amazing results with this protein. It just shot straight up as far as the immune response. But then after about 3 months, people started crashing back down. We're talking about seriously ill people with HIV and cancer, those type of things. And we found that because the immune system is an ever modulating system, it goes up and down, there's up and downs to it, that we had to add more proteins that would actually help that product bring your immune system down from keeping it from spiking constantly. Because if it constantly spiked, it wouldn't have that reaction where people would crash. So we added 4 more molecules to this protein or this product, BioPro Plus, and I would encourage anybody there listening to go to our website right under my name and look it up and do some of the research on it. It's an amazing product. But I was wondering if the echinacea was the same in the way that it just continually pushes the upswing, if you will, on the immune system. And I was wondering if that was the reason why you shouldn't take it all the time.
So yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Could be the exact mechanisms might be slightly different, but to my understanding, yes, it's definitely in a class of herbs that you just don't do all the time.
Great, gotcha. So talk to me a little bit about. I read something in your bio that really kind of was interesting to me, because it's apparently a a major way to detox, and it's something that I'm very interested in, but I don't know anything about it. You did some specialty work, or one of your specialties is cellular drainage. What exactly is that, and how can that apply to all of us?
It's a principle of homeopathy, or homotoxicology is what more specifically it is. And it is a way of medicine, a homeopathic system of medicine, in which you're helping the cells release their junk. So, or getting rid of their toxins. So Dr. Robert Guinot is a French gentleman, physician who's been amazing, passed away years ago. A lot of people kind of, it's cultish, if you will. It's really not, but just with what respect that he has. He really was an amazing lecturer. Royal is the company that's here in North America. They distribute out of Canada, that does a lot of classes on this, a lot of offerings on it. Some of it, it can be packaged different ways around the world. What I'm familiar with is a system called UNDA, UNDA. And what it's looking at is saying that, yes, we live in a toxic world, that we can have damages to various organs. And if we can remove the toxins out, then we therefore feel better. So there is a global drainage protocol, which is really pretty simple enough. It's 3 bottles of herbs, but there are different homeopathic dilutions of various minerals, various plants, not really much with animal in there that I'm aware of. So it's really plant and mineral in a certain form on helping it get out of the cell, get into something called into the blood, and then out of the emunctories, which is our main ways to actually detoxify. So we're breathing them out, sweating them out, and then defecating and urinating them out as well. So it's just a way to push it out and to be helpful for it. Certainly, a knowledge of homeopathy is important, because obviously there's a lot more to it. There have been, when I was doing a lot with their lecturing series, a lot of MDs that were interested. So it's not an impossible system if you don't have a homeopathy background, but it is a system that you have to be aware of. This is more of an energy form of medicine and helping get rid of the toxins in the body on small, dilute particles, on the principles of it, and then helping things move them around. So it's drops of water, taken a few times a day over a course of weeks, and I have seen really amazing things with homeopathy. It's one of the few curative things we have in medicine. So whether it's just one remedy, which is a lot of classical homeopathy, a lot of the listeners may be familiar with, it's just one remedy, little sugar pellets. It's very similar to this system, but you're incorporating lots of different homeopathics together, and with the goal of moving things out by detoxing the body on a cellular level.
Okay, so this kind of goes into this question that we had by Ollie, it looks like. He says he has a stone in his left kidney. He got laser or lithoscopy, I'm not sure that word, done. What should I do to make my kidney healthy? And I know there's different things. I would probably say he should probably get online with you and get a hold of you, and you could probably help him directly answer more specific.
If not me, then certainly someone in his particular part of the world. There's naturopaths all over the world as well, because if he has had one before, he's likely to get another one. Again, my husband used to have terrible problems with his kidneys when I first met him. So I would think about some basic maintenance things first. A lot of kidney stones are in people, especially in men, on how they're breaking down their proteins. So they tend to be dehydrated in general. They're just not drinking enough water, or they're drinking too much caffeine or too much alcohol. I've seen both of that, and there you go. So I would say some teas, whatever herbal teas, green teas for sure, be done to stay well hydrated. Sometimes it's too much protein as well. Like they're really eating a lot of protein. It's a lot of nitrogen going through those kidneys too. So that I would make sure that the food choices were balanced with fruits and vegetables, organic, of course, as much possible, because the kidney is a filter. So it could even be a food sensitivity that's being developed, or maybe it's just a need for more minerals, like some more magnesium and potassium might help buffer out some of the calcium that could be causing it. So a lot of kidney stones are from the calcium buildup. And then for some people, it's a genetic component to it. I mean, there's just everybody in their family kind of has that as well. And so therefore, it's a bit of an uphill battle. But otherwise, when I see most kidney stones, especially in people that have them all the time, is
let me, while we're waiting there, to my way of seeing it, and one reason I really like naturopathic medicine is because what naturopathic medicine does that's different than traditional Western medicine. Traditional Western medicine usually treats the symptoms. For example, kidney stones. Kidney stones are a symptom of an underlying problem or disease in your body. So to just treat the kidney stones by having it lasered or ultrasonically broken apart, sure, that gets rid of the kidney stone, but it's not going to treat it from coming back and treating the underlying problem or cause. And that's the problem with traditional Western medicine, if you will. They treat the symptom and not going for the cause. For instance, cancer. Cancer is just a symptom of an underlying cause, which is a weak immune system, an immune system that isn't working properly. And so that's why it's so important, in my way of thinking, that naturopathic doctors play an important part in your role or in your healthcare, so that you can get to the underlying cause of whatever your symptom is. We do have a question, and we're at past half the hour, so I will let him come in if that's okay. Unless you had a thought you wanted to finish on, Doctor. Did you have a thought?
No, as long as our technology behaves, I'm a pretty happy lady over here.
Okay, great. Can I jump in? I have a question or two. So yeah, real quickly, I'm going to let Eliza, there should be a seat. Ali, come on in and you can ask your question. Just hopefully he's got a good connection.
Hello,
there he is.
How are you? Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for allowing me to interact with you guys. You guys are doing an amazing show, and stay blessed and keep rising and keep serving humanity like this. Doing great show. Hello.
Thank you. So what's your question?
Yes, Mike. Yes, I have recently got my laser operation done, the lithotripsy operation done a day before yesterday. And my question is that what particular foods or drinks contribute to the growth of stones in kidney, and what precautionary steps should I take to make sure that the stones do not grow, and what steps should I take to make my kidney healthy?
So I would absolutely consider that you consult with a naturopathic doctor, because there's a whole approach to this would probably then work the best for you. So I definitely, as I said earlier, would stay better well hydrated, be drinking tea, not necessarily coffee or black tea, green tea, herbal tea. I would say whatever your body weight is, to divide that in half and aim for how many ounces of water or liquids you should be getting, and then balancing out with the minerals, in particular magnesium and potassium. There are some other herbs that work well, like there could also be sort of liver herbs, and that list is actually on my website.
Okay.
So lemon, alkalizing things is a big one. Dandelion greens, other green leafies, those would be very helpful. And of course, the good old standby cranberry juice, if your blood sugars will allow it. And it's actually real cranberry juice, and not that cranberry juice cocktail stuff with all the sugar in
it. Did you hear all that, Ali?
Actually, Veronica's voice is breaking. Her sound is breaking persistently. So I couldn't listen to her clearly.
I wonder what's going on why that is, on why you can't, because you're a little garbled for me as well, Ali. It's not a great connection. So hopefully you heard me say, or maybe Mike can reiterate if perhaps the connection's better on his end to yours.
Yeah.
Doing more.
I hear it well.
Okay.
Hold on just a minute, Ali. When Wayne came on, I hear a lot of background noise, and I don't know if that's causing any problem, Wayne. I hear some background noise when you came on. Wayne Dorband also is a co-host of mine, and he is a partner of ours with Alternative Health Concepts, and he helps.
Hi, Wayne.
So that's why he's here. So right now you're loud and clear.
Mike, do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
I had put my mic on. Actually, my screen says that Ali has a sketchy signal at times, so maybe he's seeing a problem. And Dr. Hayduk, thank you so much. I have a little bit of a story for why I've come in late. I was actually having a health exam in my office for insurance, for life insurance.
Super fun.
I actually had my very first, if I've ever had one before, I don't remember it, EKG. She had me laying down on a couch and put all kinds of stickies all over me and was measuring what my heart rate was in different parts of my body. So anyway, I apologize.
I hope you pass. Fingers crossed.
I don't think, I'm not too worried about it. I'm actually a runner, and I actually monitor my own blood pressure and pulse on a regular basis, have for a number of years. I heard a little bit of you guys talking in the background. It's just awesome. And I just want to encourage everybody that's online, make sure that you friend each other or follow, as they say on the program here. And I really want to say hi to Mr. Federico, who he was one of our regulars, Mike. I don't know if you realize he's been on with us times. He's got the logo NATCHA on his deal here, and boy, lots of really cool folks online.
And you're breaking up a little bit now too, and I'm getting a poor audio signal showing on yours also, Wayne, just so you know. So we've got some internet connection problems today. I apologize for that, but that's one of the things I think Blab is still working on. Just a little side note so everybody understands what's going on with Blab.
Hello,
yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, Ali, go ahead.
Yes, yes, Veronica is back as well. Thank God she's back with the grace of God. Well, Veronica, I have a question. Sorry to ask you, Sam questions. Sorry for that. There is a general notion that cold drinks, the soft drinks, contribute to the growth of stones in kidney, and some foods like tomatoes and the red meat also it also contributes to the growth of stones. What do you have to say about this?
I would agree that there are some foods that are known to be more problematic in some than in others. When it comes to soft drinks, it's because it's so high in the phosphoric acid and other acids.
Yes.
The body uses various minerals to buffer it, so therefore stones can form in the kidneys because it's a mineral imbalance issue. When it comes to tomatoes, maybe not, unless you're particularly sensitive to them. For some, they're just fine. Red meat goes back to what I said earlier about it being protein and just consuming too much protein than your own kidneys can handle. So that's why really working with somebody that understands these things to figure out how much protein should you be getting. And I'm not saying don't eat protein, but it's likely that it's just too much.
Yes, Veronica, you were also talking about what was my body weight. My body weight is 60 kg. It's 60
okay,
kg.
Then
so
that's
how?
Fine. So then you would aim for. Because usually we say take the body in ounces and divide it in half, but you've already done that by doing it in kilograms. So for you, I would aim for about 60 ounces of water or herbal tea. I would not count any alcohol or anything with caffeine, including like coffee or black tea. Green tea should be okay. 60 ounces of water, green tea, herbal tea would be the big goal per day for you. More if you're going to be sweating or doing a lot of physical exercising.
Ali, thank you for coming on today. Yeah. We're going to move on and let some other people get on here. So I really appreciate you coming on today and asking your question. And hopefully you got some answers there. You can always watch the recording that'll be immediately after on this replay. Thank you again for coming on. I'm going to drop you now and let.
Yes, I've lost question. Well,
okay,
I'm about to
leave. One more.
Sure.
One more.
Yes. It is very unfortunate that even the doctors which were operating procedures, the laser procedures on me, they didn't even give some satisfactory answers that either laser actually breaks the stone and how to make sure that the laser operation is successful, or what? I mean, how to make this sure so that
you don't have to do it again?
All right.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the question is. So did they break up the stone with the laser?
Yes. Okay. Let me make it clear. As some of patients who went through the laser operation, they were saying that their urine turns into blood, their urine turns red or becomes red as they go through that procedure. It didn't happen with me, and it is as normal as it was. So I don't know whether whether a stone really got broken or not. So I I have this kind of confusion. And again, and they were also complaining that when they got the procedure done, they they were suffering from they suffered from extreme pain in their kidney. And again, I'm not feeling any kind of pain after getting that
So
laser
you
procedures
are
done.
you're thinking they might have missed, that they might have missed your stone. Is that what I hear you say, Ali?
Yes, yes.
Yes. And then, well, I wouldn't know the answer to, because I wasn't there in the room when they did it, or the imaging before or after.
Okay.
I do know that the kidneys will clear the stone on its own eventually. Sometimes,
Okay.
yes, the laser therapy is there. It breaks it down, so it might have broken it down into smaller pieces, so your
Okay.
kidneys can move it. I would expect you to be feeling something, I would think, as you're urinating, but you might want to have a consult with your medical team if you feel like they've missed something, or something's just amiss, or you're just feeling something's just not right. I
Okay.
wouldn't assume everything's
And
okay when
I
your
have a
punch is
question,
saying something's not right.
Veronica, I'm about to leave. I have a question. What steps, general people, who are not patient or of, kidney stones or something like that, what steps should they take so that they could, protect themselves from this kind of, this kind of pain, or from, or they could protect themselves from the growth of the stones in their kidney or something like that?
Same thing as I said before. I would stay well hydrated and make sure your food choices are balanced. And then the green tea and some other things, and consulting with a naturopath to make sure that the plan that you have is really, really on par. There's been a lot of research on probiotics for kidney health, which looks really fantastic. And so maybe in someone who's having a lot of problems with a kidney stone might want to think about using a probiotic to help the whole entire body out, not just the kidneys.
Great. I hope that answers your question, Ali. I appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your problems with the doctor today, and hopefully she answered your questions. By the way, if you couldn't understand some of what you said, anybody can watch our replay either on our website after this, or you can watch the replay on Blab itself. Just go back to this, the URL or that you came in on, and it'll be there. Just real quick, I'm going to divert a little bit back. You did some work while you were in Arizona at the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. What was that involving? And was that as a naturopath at that point?
Well, I did not work, but I did a lot of my trainings with them and through their facilities. I was never on staff at the CTCA. I have a lot of other colleagues. They're fabulous facilities, so they did. Many of my trainings were offered through them and by them. So it was with MD and an ND perspective on treating various cancers. And
were you a naturopathic doctor at that time, or was that while you were in school?
Both.
Oh.
In school and after I graduated.
Oh, wonderful. So that's interesting to me because, Devin, hold on just a minute and we'll get you in here. That's interesting to me because I have a friend of mine that has pancreatic cancer right now, and he just recently went out there to Arizona from Southern California to get some kind of treatment with a new type of radiation treatment therapy that they have, or they offer. So they do a lot with naturopathic medicine also at those centers? They
have a naturopathic doctor on staff, and they do definitely incorporate a whole MD, ND approach to it. Is integrative. So there are also other facilities that are just naturopathic speaking, and that they're not of the just one or the other. So it's nice.
Okay.
I am getting a low battery signal on my headphones, so I really have no idea once I lose my battery on my headset mic and to your listeners. Hopefully everything proceeds as normal, but I'm just gonna let you know.
Okay.
We've probably got a couple of minutes, and I got to figure out some way to transition.
Okay, very good. We're coming to the end of the hour anyway. Let me have Devin come on real quick here and ask a quick question.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Devin. You may have heard what she said, so ask your question quickly and she'll try and get it answered.
See what happens. Yes, hi, Devin.
Okay, sure. I guess my question would be a little bit more vague and a little bit more hypothetical, but I just joined here a few minutes ago, and I thought this was a really interesting topic to have a discussion about. What I would like to know is, Veronica and Mike as well, do you think that alternative medicine is also complementary to forms of conventional medicine? I'll give you an example. So you could use, I'll just use some examples from your website, Mike. So the BioPro Plus, you could use that to supplement your daily health, and then use more conventional medicine to complement, more serious health conditions like the kidney stone, like getting cancer, getting tumors, stuff like that.
Let me give you an example.
He jumped right into that for you, Mike.
Yeah, that was pretty nice, Devin. And I might say,
did you set him up? Did you pay him to come on, Mike? Come on, is that you must have paid him?
No, but I definitely followed him right now, so I'm going to follow him, and hopefully he'll follow me. But no, let me start off, and I think I know what her answer will be, and I'm not going to answer for the doctor, but obviously, we believe at Alternative Health Concepts that we're only one little piece of the puzzle, that there's room for all modalities, whether it be Western medicine, natural medicine, homeopathy, you name it. And we lost the doctor, I think, so her battery might have been gone. But we believe in all those things. We believe that BioPro in itself is just one little piece of the puzzle. And it does help because it's such a powerful immune modulator that we've had many, many people go through chemotherapy, radiation therapy, different modalities, and use the BioPro in conjunction with that to help keep their immune system strong. Because in any chronic disease, Devin, that you may have, the underlying issue is your immune system is not properly working. If your our bodies are perfectly designed machines to fight off any chronic disease. It's only because of the crap that we put in our mouths, the toxins that we take into our bodies, the stress loads that we put into our bodies and into our minds. Those things all create pathogens, and those pathogens are what attack our immune system and ultimately cause chronic disease. The chronic disease is just a symptom of the underlying problem, and that is a weak immune system. And that's what our BioPro Plus does. That strengthens the immune system. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely. Most of our patients are going through, particularly with cancer, we have a strong emphasis on cancer because cancer cannot exist if your immune system is strong. It's that simple. And so BioPro Plus, being a bioidentical protein that your body makes until you're about the age 40 from your thymus gland, and then it stops. That's why it's so important. And it's an adjunct to chemo or radiation because those modalities take and tear down all your immune system. So with BioPro, people are able to go through chemo, they're able to go through radiation, and usually not miss a beat because their immune system is strong enough to where they can take those toxins in, which radiation and chemotherapy are highly toxic, as we know. So yes, we believe absolutely that it works in conjunction, that they all work together. I don't know if that answered your question.
I think
Dr. Hayduk, are you there?
That answered it pretty thoroughly.
I am here.
Okay, good.
I agree, and of course, add on even more about that concept as well.
Please do.
Even more.
Before she goes on, Mike, I'm going to jump off.
Okay, Wayne.
So I'll probably keep watching.
Devin, thanks for coming on and take advantage of just all kinds of different programs that there are here on Blab and on Periscope and all these different modalities. And lots of education you can get. If we can ever help you with anything specific, we'd love to. And we're actually always looking for folks that are interested in sort of being evangelists for our alternative health. And Dr. Veronica is back on, and actually that's the best picture that I've seen on my screen yet. So whatever you did is making you come in really clear. I'm going to say goodbye, jump back out, and we'll talk to you soon, and talk to everybody else. Make sure everybody follow everybody. Get on other people's shows. I see that Toronto Scope that came on here, looks like she's got a show that you guys might want to attend sometime. A lot of people that come on here have that. That's what makes this an amazing community. We can all talk with each other, be a community engaged, and so on. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Devin, I know that you got it, and then Doctor wants to add a little bit to that, to what I said.
Oh, I was gonna get ready to go soon because I have to.
Okay,
if you fine. I finished.
She can answer it offline. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem. See you guys later.
Talk to you soon.
Bye, Devin. Well, I would concur and agree about adding on the immune system, and then also saying that it's just feeding the body absolutely what it needs, not just about removing the toxins, but about starting with giving it all the different things it needs. And I would argue that begins even before birth, certainly what they do with moms in pregnancy in the United States, and then of course all the way on through into our advanced age. It certainly seems to be a system designed not to support health, and so it's no surprise that cancer rates and autoimmune rates are skyrocketing high here in the States because it's just so obvious on what we're doing.
Right.
And that's a whole lot of things out there that we don't even know that we don't know about, if that makes any sense. We know what we know is not good, and there's a whole lot of stuff that we haven't even brought to a consciousness that we should be concerned about as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're getting close to the top of the hour, and we want to wrap this thing up. But let me ask you, Doctor, before we go into your kind of final take on your subject today, is there any questions that we have out there that we want to get, that somebody'd like to ask kind of as we wrap this up? Great question, actually. I can't bring it up because they didn't preface it with but Quack, I'll say, asked a good question. Can you link, and I know that you've actually contributed to several peer-reviewed scientific papers that deal with different subjects, but do you know any links that can, peer-reviewed scientific papers that deal with homeopathy?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot. There's a lecture that I give to Georgetown University. So the person is welcome to email me. My website's just everywhere. So there's a link to my email off of that, or it's Veronica at drveronicahayduk.com if that's easier. And I'd happily send over my PowerPoint that lists all the different links, both in animal, in human, and in plant. There's a lot out there, and way more than even what I've listed. Some that goes back hundreds of years. Some of it, of course, is very new and current. Some of it here in the United States, and then elsewhere all over the world.
Okay, great.
So there's a lot.
So hopefully that answered your question, and I think we've got her website posted on there, Quack, that you can just go to and go directly through there and get that information.
Just give me an email, and I'd be happy to send that on over.
Okay, great. Yeah, so hopefully that answered your question there. Okay, any other questions from the audience that we have? Just got a couple minutes and then we're going to wrap this thing up. But first off, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it. The insight has been wonderful. I really want to, and based on our audience response and what happened, I hope maybe we can do this again.
Sure, absolutely. My pleasure.
Great. So what I'd like you to do now is just take your parting shot, if you will, and add anything that we may have missed today, but why you're so passionate about what you do and helping people. And
I really like being a naturopathic doctor and being a physician that actually helps people get better. I am, of course, reading some of the comments and things going over here alluding to naturopathic medicine not being a real system of medicine, not being, because it's not mainstream. It certainly does not mean that it does not work, that it's not effective. When a patient comes to see me, it does not have to be one or the other. It can certainly be both. We all have to eat something. We all choose what we put into our bodies. So that's where I find naturopathic medicine that's worked for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and for millions and billions of people all over the world it does work, and it's a very powerful system of medicine, even though you don't have to go to a pharmacy to fill it. So it's unfortunate that there's a lot of misinformation out there when just like everything else in the world, people just, I think, leave a little space in your mind for something different to come in there and bloom and blossom to be something amazing, and to be closed-minded about it when there's so much out there in the world is really a disservice to the person themselves and then the community in which they would be speaking to.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I think that really says it all. Just again, really appreciate it. And it actually, to me, just if I can add real quickly, it actually to me is a little bit, it's funny that people would attack a science and medicine such as naturopathy as not being real or valid because the pharmaceutical companies don't back it.
And you also have to think about people from all over the world, not just here in America, and how they view natural medicine, alternative medicine is much, much different than how we do here in the States. So I do hope in the very near future, there's a definite shift to, there's naturopaths. We're not just the fringe profession. We really are, for chronic diseases, I think, the resource to go to, in addition to a primary care doctor. But beyond drugs and surgery, like I say, beyond cutting, burning, and poisoning, what is there really there that you
Right. I hope we didn't lose you. Well, if we did, we lost you at the right time, because there we are at the end. So I want to, we'll wrap it up there, and because we've had some technical difficulties, but just one final thing from me. I'd like everybody that was here that enjoyed the show today to please go to our website, alternativehealthconcepts.com, and join our group, get on our blog, and we send out 3 great content letters every week, and we have a blog or a blab every week. We'd love you to come on and be part of our family and learn more about alternative health and how it can improve your health. Thank you for being here. Really enjoyed having you all. We'll talk to you soon.